Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 4, the final part for today. My website's ggnonline.com, and on YouTube, ddarko2012 and ddarko2013 are my YouTube channels. Alright, so I was talking about putting the links up there. They'll probably be up tomorrow. I didn't plan on doing 4 videos today, just 2. So I'll probably get the links done by tomorrow night. Okay, so we left off here talking about leaving people in a state of fear. Really just keeping them in a state of fear all the time, never giving them any rest. And of course, the mainstream media likes to hyper-sensationalize a lot of these stories, like this here, where some soda cans or bottles were filled with some pretty weak stuff, and multiple chemical bombs explode. So they call them chemical bombs. So after all of this on Friday, I experienced this myself just from seeing people around me and how they reacted. And we're talking about zombies cheering about this, screaming USA, USA after the capture of the Boston bombing suspects. Boston capture closes out a tough week. So it's almost as if people won or something, right? Like they were part of the winning team. They won. They did it, right? It was unbelievable. Like everybody was all tuned into it, action by action, just like Dorner, right? Dorner, the manhunt chase, the guy that was talking out about LAPD crimes and atrocities. So, and he ended up getting burned down in a home in some cabin. So he's not going to be able to talk, right? Dead guys don't really talk. So all in all, it's been a tough week, but we've seen the character of our country once more in America. So Americans and in the world, they got their fix, right? They got their fix, and it'll only be it'll only be a few weeks or maybe in a month before you get your fix again. America, #1 in fear, stress, anger, divorce, obesity, and antidepressants. The U.S. is a deeply unhappy place. We are a nation that is absolutely consumed by fear, stress, anger, and depression. It's not just our economy falling apart, but the very fabric of society is starting to come apart at the seams. And it is because of what is happening to us on the inside. Says the clear evidence that America is a nation that is in an advanced state of decline. We are overwhelmed by fear, stress, and anxiety, and much of the time, the ways that we choose to deal with these emotions lead to some very self-destructive behaviors. If you look around you, are most people around you teeming with happiness and joy? Sadly, the truth is that most Americans are terribly stressed out. Says many of them may be able to manage to come up with a smile when they greet you, but most of the time they are consumed by internal struggles that are eating away at them like cancer. Says, why is this happening in modern life? America is supposed to be the greatest, right? Says, is modern life structured in a way that is fundamentally unhealthy? I think so, me personally. I was thinking about it over the weekend. It's like they've the powers that be have duplicated. They've created this kind of almost a carbon copy, but it's not quite. They've kind of created this copy of the tribe and the way it functions, and then they've kind of overlaid it over what we have, right? They've kind of like just placed it over what we used to have, and now we have this kind of false construct of the tribe. So, it's like everybody. If you could be left out in the cold, you can be left behind if you don't go with the tribe of society, and it can be pretty stressful. But it's like in thinking today, like about if you have a job, it means somebody else doesn't have a job in the capitalist system. See, but people think, oh, I'll screw that person. You know what I mean? They didn't offend them. They didn't just not pick up the slack. It's that there's not enough jobs for people that exist. So as long as you have a job, somebody else doesn't, and you're going to be completely exploited. And when they're done with you, the corporations or companies, that's it. They don't care about you. Your clan or your part of your tribe being able to feed your family. Because people have too high an expectation of what they should have out of life and get overly stressed over it. It says here, think about how our culture is now structured for the average adult. Stress everywhere. It says you look commuting in horrible traffic as you want to scream in frustration. Money stress to pay the rent, house, note, tuition, utilities, gas, insurance, vacations, cable bill, rising food costs, and on and on. From family problems, divorce, delinquency, drugs, crime, infidelity, keeping up with the Joneses, etc. It says, I'm hearing more and more of people that just want to drop out from it all as they are reaching a breaking point and have decided less income and dependency on entitlements will reduce their stress and is not so humiliating, so giving up working becomes more acceptable to keep one's sanity. People not in labor force soared by 663,000 to 90 million. Labor force participation rate at 1979 levels. So things just keep getting worse for the American worker by implication, U.S. economy, whereas we have shown many times before it pays just as well to sit back and collect disability and various welfare and entitlement checks than to work. The best manifestation of this, the number of people not in the labor force, which in March soared by a massive 663,000 to a record 90 million Americans who are no longer even looking for work. This was the biggest monthly increase in people dropping out of the labor force since January 2012. Here's January 1978, and it's below what 60, it's about 63%, and it goes all the way to January 2012 where it's back down there. Of course, that was an era where there's a lot of steel mills shut down, a lot of farmers went out, sold out. A lot of people's families split and divorces were high. Part-time workers underemployed. It says Eurostat, the EU's statistical office says 21% of part-time workers in the EU want longer hours and are underemployed. Well, you got to get two jobs, right? At 60, so the company don't have to pay benefits or any of that crap, right? But you'll still have to pay the taxes. At 66%, Germany has the most part-time workers wanting more hours, followed by Spain at 55%. So as there are 43 million part-time workers in the EU. So everyone was all happy. Oh, I got a job. Well, it's 39 hours or 29 hours, I think it is now, to avoid ObamaCare mandate. Part-time workforce surges ahead of ObamaCare mandate. So that's going to boost unemployment numbers. So that's why I said Obamacare, a lot of it is really about denying care, but it's also it's going to boost unemployment numbers. The shift to part-time work accelerated in February ahead of a key mid-year ObamaCare deadline. The survey found that the percentage of part-time workers as a share of the overall labor force has surged to 20%, the highest level in the data going back to the start of 2010. It says here, it suggests that both jobless claims in the upcoming February employment report on Friday may be distorted by the underlying shift to part-time work. Policymakers should not be misled by the surge in part-time jobs in early 2013. Chief economist Dennis Jacoby, the economic reality is that the U.S. job situation worsened in February. It's funny because I saw this article in the newsstand today at the store, Time, made in the USA, manufacturing is back, but where are the jobs? Well, there it is. Remember, robo-sourcing, automation? So you have all these jobs that are gone, not coming back. And you see all these people that are all happy because they're getting their paychecks. They're able to keep up with their end of the month usury interest rates, right? They're able to get by. They're moving up. They're exercising. They got their iPods. They're running the brave new world. Then there's other people that are barely getting by eating shit food and broken down cars and just can't keep up. But this is what it is, So those jobs that jobs that are going to be available are what? Are going to go to robots and machines. This is all part of the plan too, of course, but they like to say how made in the USA is making a comeback. 5,000 lives believed to have been lost due to bitter March. Was it just the cold weather, or is it people that froze to death? The grim toll was recorded despite 635,000 cold weather payments triggered by 7 days of below freezing temperatures being made during the month. There were none in March of last year. Last March, I think we were just being harped, pulsed, sprayed more or something because it was like almost 80 degrees. Like I said, I don't think that the chemtrailing can keep up with the coming ice age that's coming. They can only spray so much because that's what they're doing. When they spray, they're warming the planet. It's part of the quote side effect of using the Welsbach cloud seeding patented technology. It says here that we are trailing behind our European counterparts when it comes to providing decent housing that people can afford to heat. There were 33,500 deaths over the first 3 weeks of last month, up from an average of 29,294. Says another 1,000 extra deaths are predicted for the final week of the month because they can't afford it. But the Department of Death says the figures were provisional and should be treated with caution, kind of like conspiracy theories. Grim rise in suicides by baby boomers. Says as December 24 ticked to a close in 2011, and it goes on here. Here it says 65-year-old walked into the dark of the backyard near Sacramento High School and hanged himself from a beam on the deck. It was a Vietnam veteran who struggled with bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress, died in the hospital on Christmas afternoon. So it says here that although experts have long thought of midlife as a time of stability and emotional contentment, baby boomers are proving to be an unfortunate exception, reversing a long-time demographic trend. Midlife suicides are on the rise for the generation born between 1946 and 64. So suicide rate for this group rose by almost 30% during the decade ending in 2010. But it said here that traditionally the demographic most likely to kill themselves dropped by 12%, which is people 85 and older. Maybe it's because they didn't kill themselves. Maybe it's because they were euthanized, right? They were basically starved to death by these hospices, which are basically death care facilities. They're there to go and die. Impatient cop pulls gun. Georgia detective aims gun at McDonald's customer. So reportedly, impatient cop pulled his gun on a customer in a slow-moving McDonald's drive-through line. So he's charged with assault and placed on administrative leave. And can you imagine if just a regular person did that, like myself, concealed carry? 8th grader jailed over NRA shirt. So the 14-year-old was arrested after a dispute over a gun on shirt in West Virginia. So he and the teacher argued over the shirt, and the 8th grader, you don't talk with that. They're the indoctrinator, the brainwasher. You're not there to be a skeptic or challenge what they say. You're supposed to accept what you're told is truth by the authorities, the officials. So the 8th grader was eventually suspended, arrested. See, again, here they go, arrested. So you don't want armed guards outside these re-education camps. In fact, you don't want to put your kids in these camps. Arrested, and now finds himself facing charges of obstruction and disturbing the re-education brainwashing project. Yeah, that's a big crime. You don't want to stop that. 1 in 10 people addicted to their smartphone. So 1 in 10. So people, right? Just grown-ups from March 21st, 2013. Well, you got stuff like this out there. 8 great no-guilt smartphone applications for your toddler. In search of a smartphone app that will leave them conscience clear, and your 2-year-old squealing with delight. So, sounds pretty nice and educational, right? Well, toddlers becoming so addicted to iPads, they require therapy. So, there's a digital detox program, 28 days for £16,000. In a world where toddlers are being zombified with smartphones and tablets, who would say that it's what's ridiculous and what isn't anymore? So Cryptagon, he has some pretty cool things in there, getting candles and if you cook with electricity, get propane stoves, things that you can avoid that. For that, children as young as 4 are becoming so addicted to smartphones and iPads that they require psychological treatment. It says young technology addicts experience the same withdrawal symptoms as alcoholics or heroin addicts when the devices are taken away. They say it prevented young people from forming normal social relationships, leaving them drained by the constant interaction. I think there was a story just in the last 6 months where a child basically attacked, shot, or threatened the mother over taking her iPhone or iPad, whatever, away. It's their smartphone. NBC station fires anchor whose first words on air were "fucking shit." So, North Dakota NBC affiliate has fired its newest anchor after he started his new job, by uttering the words as the weekend news broadcast began. The cops always get second chances. This was his first day, and trust me, I did broadcasting in college, and you can get pretty nervous. It says, he tweeted, "Tough day, thanks for the support. We all make mistakes. I'm truly sorry. Hopefully, basically you can learn from this." But as it turned out, the anchor would never have a chance to come back later. So they decided to let him go. So, this is so stupid about being politically correct, You know how much garbage shit flows out of mainstream media anchors' mouths? They just read off teleprompters. There's no independent thought at all. They're not even allowed to do that. There's just too much liability, right, for revenue and profit margins. So this poor guy on his first day makes a mistake. No, sorry, can't have that. The heartbreaking image that shows the reality of PETA's animal home, garbage bags full of kittens killed by animal rights group. So this claims that PETA has killed nearly 30,000 animals in 11 years. It says euthanasia figures are distorted, do not include nearly 10,000 animals saved and put up for adoption. So piles of garbage bags containing dead cats are pictured outside PETA's headquarters. And remember the abortion doctor, Gosnell trial witness, baby abortion survivor, was swimming in toilet trying to get out. So on the last day of the testimony before prosecution rest, the murder trial abortionist, Mr. Gosnell, says here he saw a late-term baby survived abortion swimming in a toilet and trying to get out. That must be like when they were talking about it sounded like an alien in the other article. Florist sued again for refusing to provide flowers for gay wedding. The ACLU has filed a discrimination lawsuit against the florist who would not sell flowers for gay couples because of religious beliefs. China wants to replace superstition, i.e. religion or belief in God, with science. They liberate the people from superstitious beliefs about alternative health that works for them and push big pharma and push the country's atheist stance. De-extinction or transhumanism, they become the gods.